My dear friends, on this Remembrance Sunday, when we recall the lives of so many who gave their lives that we may live, we remember the life of one individual who devoted his life to inspire us in Judaism, to represent us to the world, and in the words of the Rosh Hashanah davening, to give kavod to his people. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, Zichrona Livracha, who passed away yesterday, leaving a tremendous void for all of us. We feel truly bereft. This was a man who, day after day, week after week, helped us to see the big picture that Judaism is the message for the world. There must have been hundreds of thousands every week in so many countries in the world that would turn to his Devar Torah for Shabbat for inspiration in many different languages. He gave a TED talk in early 2017 following the last American election. It could have been today, following the rancor of that election. We can build a better future, he said, without the bitterness, without the division. He spoke around the same time to a group of Olami students, Jewish students, telling them, choose a Jewish option. How the inspiration we've had from Abraham onwards has inspired so many through the generations. We can draw from their wisdom. And we have drawn for so many years from his wisdom. In terms of our community, Chigwell and Hainault, well, he first came in 1998. I'm sure he came before that, but my first memory is he came for our induction when Chama and I came to the community in 1998. He came again in 2001 as we celebrated 25 years at Limes Farm, and what an inspiration that visit was, and how he encouraged us and congratulated us for all our achievements to date. He came in 2008 as we launched the L'chaim program, an adult education program which lasted for years. That night we had 250 people in the shul to hear his words of encouragement, for education was really his thing. He came again for a Shabbaton in 2011, where he spoke about the Mishkan, that tabernacle that the Jews built in the desert, the first ever house of prayer, and he spoke about our house of prayer and what a Kehillah really means. And yes, he came in 2013, farewell breakfast. And those who were there will never forget his words of love and warmth and encouragement. As a rabbi, I've been continually inspired by his writings, by his speeches, by the talks he would give us rabbis prior to Yom Tov, to prepare us for Yom Tov, and also at times from the direct approaches that I would make to him. On one occasion, in fact it was 20 years ago, just before Sukkot, we had news of the terrible lynching of the Israeli soldiers in Ramallah. And I said to him, I called him up, I said, Rabbi Sacks, tomorrow is Sukkot, Zman Simchasenu, the festival of our rejoicing. How can we rejoice? What am I to say to the community? And he said words then that I've never forgotten and I've shared a number of times. Baruch, he said, your job as a community rabbi is to inspire hope. And there is reason to hope. Look how we've come, how far we've come over these thousands of years. What's going on now is truly terrible, but we will come through it. We will emerge stronger. And of course, he's absolutely right. And that was his abiding message, one of hope, always of hope. This was a message that we shared in 2015 on our Poland trip, particularly Majdanek, when we stood in front of that pile of bones. A terrible moment. But I recalled the Haftarah from Shabbat Chol Hamoed Pesach, the dry bones, where God told Ezekiel the prophet, these bones who said, Avda tikvatenu, our hope is lost. No. Od lo avda tikvatenu. Rabbi Sacks always used this as a message of hope. When I think of yesterday's portion, Abraham was chosen. Why? Because he taught his children Tzedek u'Mishpat, the right way to live, the moral way to live, the ethical way to live. Rabbi Sacks is a true disciple of Abraham. And at the end of the parasha, when God said to Abraham, take your only son, well, God has taken one of his sons back to him. The final message I'd like to leave you with is one that he gave to me just prior to Bar Mitzvah. Tragic Bar Mitzvah. The boy had got up from Shiva of his mother only 3 days before the Bar Mitzvah. Rabbi Sacks, what shall I say to him? He said, Baruch, the Sedra is Vayechi. Joseph said to the children of Israel, when you leave Egypt, take my bones with. Baruch, tell him wherever he goes, he will always have his mother's memory, his mother's inspiration, his mother's example with him, encouraging him. We'll always have, because we've got so much imprint and so many videos, we'll always have Rabbi Sacks with us. Not new lessons from him, but lessons worthy of repetition time and again. This Tuesday's shiur will be devoted to his Torah on Chayei Sarah. May his memory be for a blessing. Amen.